Okay, quick one today because I've got so much to do. I'm going to start with crypto this time because why? Because I just did some trading, sorts of stuff in a bad way after this drop. Don't know if I explained yesterday. It's because I had increased my longs up here, hoping for a continued up. Unfortunately, I hit my stop losses on them and closed out my two biggest long positions, ones that I've been holding open since February, trying to get them out of the negative hole that they're in. I hit their stop losses, and I did it intentionally to close them right down to very small amounts, because if it goes past there, I expect it to go lower, as it did. So that was a good move, but because the market's so low, the equity that I have is decreasing as the market falls, because the equity I have is in the coins that are crashing. So I've got less equity available to margin loan, but I have a fixed debt from those coins. And so now that it's really low, I don't know if it's going lower or not, but the idea is when it gets really low, I'd buy back in so that I could make the gains on the way back up. But because of my loss of equity and existing debt, I can't buy back in at the bottom because I don't have enough equity to allow me to take on that margin. So kind of screwed on that regard. I basically have to wait for the market to start recovering, which is maybe not a bad thing, because then I have to get confirmation. The market has to recover enough to increase my equity to cover my loans, to give me the leverage to long coins that I need to cover. And so I'll have to basically ratchet it up. As the market goes up, I'll buy more and more and more. So that's the situation I'm in now. I'm trying to trade, what do they call it? Scalp, the ups and downs on this bit here. But I do believe we're going to get a bit more of a bounce from this. But I keep believing that stuff. Like, it happens, we do get bounces, that do go up. You can make money from that. But yeah, if it goes down lower than this, then it's going to get real messy. But yeah, so anyway, while that's happening, a lot of the altcoins out there have really tanked. And so I see this as an opportunity. When things are that bad, it's a great time to really snap up some really cheapy shit coins. Because even the shittest of shit coins, when the market goes good, it's amazing how regularly they just 10x over the course of a week, because someone pumps and dumps them. So because of that phenomenon, I a while ago created this concept. I just called it the Moonshine Protocol, silly name, and it was a very simple idea. Whenever you buy a number of coins, figure out the average cost that you put into them, and then when the price goes up to 4x that value, you sell a quarter of it, thereby covering your initial investment. You get your initial back, and you still got 3/4 of your coins left. Then when that doubles again, you sell an eighth of it, and you get your initial back again. So you've now doubled your money, and you still have more than half of the original coins you bought. And then you do it again the 16th, and so now you've got exactly half of your coins remaining, and you have got 4x, because this should be 1x, 1x, and then 4x here, 4x, 2x returns at each of those points. So you've now taken a total of 4x of your original investment, and you still have 500 coins remaining. It's a shorter. Now, that's been good to me. On a couple of when I invented this concept, I went around Cryptopia, which is like the land of shitcoin, and I literally went to sorted the list by BTC value. So I went down to all the coins that were worth 0.0000001 Bitcoin, and then up from there. And I just scanned through them looking for coins that had an active community, had development happening, had a basic reason for existing, and weren't some random person that went, oh, I'm gonna make a coin for my hobby, yay me, like some basis of value to the coin, not expecting it to change the world or be amazing. But the point was just I was making small speculative punts, a couple $100 from my total crypto holdings, which is not a lot in the scheme of things, on the premise that if it went up 4x, then I'd get that money back anyway, and if it went up a lot more than that, then at the end of the process, I will have made a good little profit from that small bet and have coins left over on the off chance that that project ended up actually becoming something amazing and being worth a lot more. So just sort of get lots of a long tail effect of all these different coins. And the beautiful thing about it, so having done that, a number of them did. A number of them actually hit the one of them hit the 16x, a couple of them hit the 8x, and quite a few of them hit the 4x. And lots of them didn't. Lots of them went down as well, and lots of them now are like crappy little values. But all in all, I don't know. I guess because they went up and hit that price, I've got my investment covered plus some extra, and I've got that in Bitcoin. And now the prices have all tanked again. They're all low. So basically what I'm doing is I'm looking at this list of all these coins that are now back down below the price that I originally bought them at in many cases, and thinking I should buy more of them. Because it just seems to, like, this has been happening with Bitcoin for years, and you can just see the patterns within the shitcoins that you can just kind of take these small safe punts. So what I've realized in watching this play out though is that I really should have it would have been better to take this approach, which is basically applying the Moonshine protocol after it's doubled. So premise being maybe doubling the initial investment, so that I've got twice as many coins as I was maybe willing to risk originally, because each of these is really high risk. I'm putting money in, and if it doesn't go to 4 times its value, then I'm just holding a coin that's worthless. But with this sort of process, crypto amazingly frequently will change in value 50% or 2x, just in its natural volatility, in its waves that it goes through, and in spikes that occasionally happen from pump and dumps or from whatever reason, because it's just unregulated market, lots of novice people. It's just crazy, and so you can profit from that. And so by putting a larger volume in at the beginning, but waiting for a 2x to take your initial out, and then applying the Moonshine, so then you've now got half as many coins, but let's imagine that's the initial, and waiting for that to then 4x from that price point. By putting that in place, I get my initial faster and easier. I'll have less coins at the end. Than in this, I end up with like 50% of coins. In this, I end up with like 18.75%. But yeah, 500 there. But what I'm also planning on doing with this process is, when that price point is hit, I then automatically put in a buy price back at the original price. So if I buy 1,000 coins at half a Bitcoin, and then they double in value, I will sell half of them, and I will receive half a Bitcoin for that, and I will still have 500 left. Then if the price drops back down to that price, I can buy back 500 for 0.25 Bitcoins, and I'll end up with the original amount of coins, but my investment is 0.25 now. Or maybe even redo the original investment. I'm not sure which way to go with that. I guess it depends on the coin and how much confidence I have that it's going to go back up again. But the point is selling as it goes up and then buying when it goes down, and just playing that volatility. The reason I'm talking about all this now is because I've refined it based on this experience of having bought way too many back during the January hype. So a lot of them are down a lot. But the same, looking back through history, this happens all the time. They have a spike and they go down, 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 and go to shit. And then the next bull run comes and they just start going up and up and up. And then people start buying all the Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up and then they get too excited by that. So then they put all their money into altcoins. And altcoins go through the roof again. And so if and when that happens, then this sort of stuff will play out. But the time to buy it's not when everyone's buying the altcoins. The time to buy it is when everyone's dumping the altcoins, which is now. Maybe I'm too soon. Maybe this market's got a lot more down in it. But at the moment, some of these coins are like a tenth of where they were in January. Not many of them, are the ones that I buy anyway. But a lot of them are down much less than 50%. So in the 25 to 40% range. Quite a lot of coins are down at that 25% of the price that they. Not the price that they reached in January. Actually, probably a lot of them are lower than that. But I didn't buy them at the peak, so they stopped that back going for me. So the point is, yeah, I think it's an opportunity to make it easier to hit the 2x price, because I'm what this is effectively doing is dollar cost averaging. If I've bought up there, it's gone down a bit, and I'm buying more down here. Now my average price is lower, so it'll be easier to reach the doubling of that. I could treat them as two separate buy orders and sell relative to each, but at this point in time, my objective is mostly to just recoup the original investment in any form back into Bitcoin, and yeah, take advantage of the volatility, because I generally don't care too much about most of these coins. They're just trading vehicles. So I'm thinking of making this spreadsheet public at some point, because people may get value from it. Oh yeah, Cash Out Protocol is same thing, but more aggressively selling, trying to get down to fewer coins. I came up with a principle of never selling all the coin, because it's too often that I know too many people that bought some Ethereum in the beginning, and Ethereum had like a year or two of just shitty price action, losing value. And I know too many people that sold all of their Ethereum before it then went up 40,000%. So, even though they had 96 times price return sounds ridiculous, that's it happens. It's happened so many times in crypto, and I don't want to be the idiot that sold all of my coin that then did that and went up 400x, 500 and 1,000x. I'd rather be the person that safely recovers investment on all coins and then has a systematic procedure for taking profits as they come, but never cashes out everything in case this ends up being the coin, whatever the coin is, that someone new comes in, something happens, and they make a breakthrough, and suddenly it's a coin that solves bloody world poverty. I don't know. It's software. It can change. It's a public, it's a community-based thing. Communities change. So never sell out of any coin. One principle that I have created. So even in my Cash Out protocol, the intention of this is to apply this to coins that I have very little confidence in as long-term projects, but still hold apparently about 2.7% of the coins that I originally buy. So at some point I'll make that public. Anyway, I wasted too much time talking about that. Yesterday I had a great call with Lloyd Armbrust of BitPress, just talking about what they're doing with BitPress and what I'm doing with the Socratic Web. Yeah, it was just a great call, trying to understand their work and him understand the Socratic Web, because there is some synergy there. BitPress is actually doing a really good thing with attempting to create a platform which allows journalists and whoever works with the platform to create semantic connections of a negative nature, to say we are linking to this, but it is because it is untrue, because it is fake, because it is false. Lloyd coined it a negative link, and that was an insight that he had. It was like, we have links, but they all are assumed positive or neutral. They're sort of like, not that it's actively assumed, but that's what PageRank kind of does, is back, the original PageRank is an inbound link, is a positive vote. It's just assumed positive. and generally most usage of links is positive or neutral, but some links are in fact negative. They're linking to something to say this is wrong, this is stupid, and so he coined the concept of a negative link, and that's functionally not really any different to what Rebutta focuses on, is this semantic concept of a link. Well, it's a relationship between two pages where one page is critical of the other. So there is a link there, a semantic link. Whether there's a href or not is not relevant necessarily for my purposes, but we need to track the semantic relationship between pages where one page is critical or negative of the other. And that's what the Socratic web's all about, is tracking those relationships so that we can use the content. Where we differentiate is that BitPress is attempting to use those negative links as part of a scoring algorithm to determine trust and to identify that has got so much negative content about it, it is probably false, it is probably unreliable. Whereas the Socratic web, I've taken a stand with that any sort of evaluation, any sort of conclusion on behalf of that the system reaches is a threat to the confidence the public will have in the system, because the public's beliefs do not align with reality. This is a fundamental reality that we have to get used to, is that the public, not the fringes, not the crazies, but the public, their beliefs do not align 99% with reality. They don't align with it. They are deviances from it somewhere, or in most cases. Most people, even just on the basis of religion, there's how many major religions in the world? They can't all be true, and yet there are billions of people ascribing to each of them. Therefore, there is a contradiction. So any system that maybe comes down and says, Christianity is true, Islam is true, or whatever, you're going to ostracize lots of people. So any sort of conclusion that a system reaches is going to upset people. So the Socratic web focuses on, let's collect all this data and make it available from the content that it should be available from, without passing judgment on either side, on either argument, on in any case. Whereas BitPress is attempting to do a similar sort of organization, but then quantify the value of the relationships so that they can create a simple interface, a simple display, something so that when you're going through your news feed, through the search results, whatever, it's like, oh, I'm not interested enough to go and do the research and figure this out for myself. Just tell me what to think, and that's available for the users. I see the appeal in that. I see why everyone's doing that, because that is the public general that we have. Most people don't have time most of the time, and they do want the simple answer. But it carries with it the risk of ostracism and putting people off, and therefore the risk of making people perceive the platform itself as unreliable and untrustworthy because it contradicts their beliefs. And maybe I'm overplaying that risk, but I think there's a problem with it. And there are other reasons. There are other risks with creating that sort of a process, the evaluative process. But I won't go into that here. I've probably said enough on it generally. That was a great conversation, and I want to talk to him some more after I've read through his white paper, which I haven't finished yet. Great white paper too. Goes into a lot of detail. Just this morning I started adding another section to this platform internal efforts. What's Facebook doing, what's Google doing? That's just as relevant as what all the independent people are doing with their own projects. I need to update that some more. I need to read the Pro-Truth Pledge article that Gleb posted, because he said this should be included. I'm happy to. If it is, I'm pretty certain it's going to be under a completely new category. I'm not sure it fits in with the general theme of the article, because there are lots of people and organizations and companies working against misinformation. But I think there's a big difference between I'm going to walk out in the street and tell everyone that climate change is real and that the Pope didn't endorse Donald Trump. It's like I'm fighting misinformation by just talking to random people on the street. It's fighting misinformation, but it's not at all the right scale for what I'm thinking about and what this article is about, which is an attempt at systemic, algorithmic, scalable solutions to the world. Now, the Pro-Truth Pledge is arguably scalable and systemic-ish. But my understanding of it is just, it's people saying, oh, I promise to tell the truth, and to put in the effort to try not to spread things that are untrue and to correct anything that I've said that is untrue when it is made known to me. So that is a cultural change, which is interesting. Anyway, I've got to read the article to really make sure it makes sense, and then put that, maybe even make a cultural efforts to change the global relationship to things. Anyway, that's that. I'm getting less and less confident this has any value all the time. And then again, actually, no, it's when it's got value, it's got value. Last time we hit 6,900, there was an obvious wall there that wasn't relenting. That's when it's got value, when you see the wall. The whole way down this time, that wall didn't exist. So it was clearly showing, it's like, okay, then that wall's gone now. Now we're on our own. What's happening? Up a little bit, nothing too exciting. And maybe here, let me show this. The Misinfect Slack group. Scott Yates gave me a link to his list of efforts to fight this information. So I've got to go through all these and see which ones are appropriate in my own list. A lot of them are more sort of journalistic efforts, which are good and important, but just sort of a different tact to what I'm focusing on again. If you start including them, as Scott commented himself in that, when he posted this, it's like knowing what not to include ends up becoming the question, because when you start including everyone right with an E, yeah. When you start including one organization that's doing fact checking, then there's a lot of fact checkers out there, a lot of them, and so it becomes unwieldy to maintain a list of all the fact checking, let alone all of the journalist efforts and all of the organizations that are trying to teach librarians to teach media literacy or whatever. There are thousands of efforts fighting fake news, but it's about the scale and impact. Okay, I think I'm done. Leonardo's here.
I've had enough playing outside.
You've had enough playing outside, huh? Okay, fair enough. I guess it's time for something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make a Madagascar DB.
A Madagascar
DB.
DB. What's a DB?
Madagascar one. And make one.
I still don't know what a DB is. Like a mask or a game or a book or...
No, a DD to your TV. Want to make... I make a DV.
A DV?
To your TV.
To the TV?
A DV with a circle.
Oh, you want to make a DVD?
Yeah.
You want to make a Madagascar DVD? Okay, I'll come down. Okay. Well, that's today done. I was going to have a call with Michael Lustig today and talk about stuff, but he rescheduled till tomorrow. So I might make my video tomorrow with him. Okay, that's enough. See ya.